Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Nine Hole Podcast with David and Ian. David, what's going on, dude?
Another good day. NFL Sunday right now. Got my Saints hoodie on.
Are they live right now?
Yeah, they're playing the Falcons right now.
I love that. And here you are.
Yeah,
Respect, brother.
priorities, man.
Respect, brother. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. We didn't do too much. Ate a lot. Got to see some of my dad's side of the family, and it's kind of chill and not too bad. You're doing well. Where you at right now?
Sick. I'm at the in-laws, man. North New Jersey. You've been there.
I have been there. It's
Here
a
for
cool
my
little spot.
wedding, right? Yeah. Awesome place. Uh, yeah. Pretty cool. So we're here. Um, and we'll head back home I think in a day or two, but we're soaking it in, dude. We're having a good time. Were you able to watch any college football yesterday, or I know you said you're more of an NFL guy?
So I watched a little bit of the Oklahoma State game, but dude, get this,
BYU.
yeah,
BYU,
my
Oklahoma State.
brother-in-law won a 20-leg parlay. He picked 20 all favorites, college football teams to win. And it was like a free ESPN bet or something. He won $7,000.
What?
Yeah.
S-
And he was just messing around, picked 20 teams to win. And like they all like half the teams went like double overtime and like last second field goals. And
So the
I was like,
stars had to
oh,
align.
yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, even if it's favorites, like it's football, you never know. It's a little different in NFL because it's any given Sunday, but college, I guess, but still things happen. Yeah, I didn't watch too much. I just watched a little bit of Oklahoma State, and I'll follow KU football a little bit in K State just because they're here. But
For sure.
nothing crazy.
For sure. I watched we were watching the Michigan and Ohio State game. That
And
was
Michigan beat them, huh?
that was crazy, dude.
I saw some
That
numbers
was
from
crazy.
that. The head coach for Michigan makes $7.5 million a year. Head coach for Ohio State makes $7 million a year. Like the revenue
Not
that they
bad.
generated to bring in for those games was like $250 million per team or something, like ridiculous. It was on LinkedIn, and I wish I had the actual numbers, but it was sweet.
It's absurd, dude. I mean, think
Yeah,
about how many like scholarship players there are. Scholarship. And
trying to
that
get a
that don't even
scholarship.
play. That don't even see the field, right? They have full rides. There's a insane amount of scholarships for football teams that generate the revenue. And for like college baseball teams,
Yeah,
they have I forget what the number is, but it's a fraction. It's a fraction, dude. It's nuts.
well, they make so much money, and like that's like with the NIL stuff now. It's people are like, they're making so much money, but like it's probably pennies next to what they're actually bringing in the entire NCAA, and it's crazy. Speaking of
100%.
Thanksgiving, though, like that Baseball United League in Dubai, they were playing, I think, on Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, dude.
I
So
was
I saw
talking
some
to
highlights. Saw
yeah,
some highlights.
I was talking to a little bit of my family the other day about baseball brought us so many opportunities to travel and friends and whatever, but like we also missed out on holidays and spring breaks and whatever. But I was thinking about because I got a couple buddies that are over there,
In the
and they're
Dubai League.
yeah, Dylan Thomas. Do you remember him? I don't think
He's an
you.
outfielder.
Yeah, he's an outfielder. He's like a poster child kind of for him right now. But yeah, whatever. But he went over there. He's got a daughter, and he's a good player. Made it to the big leagues with the Mariners, actually. Um,
That's awesome. Dude, yeah, I remember him. I remember that name. So I've seen highlights of the Baseball United stuff in Dubai. I saw Bartolo Colon,
yeah,
who I forget how old he is, dude, but
he's 50
he's okay, so he's 50. He just kind of retired recently. He's
a few years
uh,
ago.
dude, he's out there throwing, 80 plus, right?
Yeah, and the ball's moving
81 sinkers.
all over. And so, like, it's silly, but I did that Mariners fantasy camp. My dad was running it and stuff, and they brought me in to throw against the camp, like, 40, 50-year-old, 60-year-old people. And I threw 2 innings to 12 to 12 bat. This was like last spring.
And were you
And
being and you were letting it eat?
Isaac, the clubby, gunned me, and I was throwing 81 miles an hour,
Were you really?
and I'm 30 something years old, and so Bartolo Colon is like, I don't know if he's close to 280 pounds, 50 years old. That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I think I pretty sure I saw a 1-2-3 inning. He got Robinson Cano
First
to
inning, yeah,
um, roll over, dude. That's crazy. So he's still doing it. I saw Pablo Sandoval hit a fucking 6-run home run,
yeah,
which
that's
is
weird.
which is like different. So we've talked a bit in the past about Major League Baseball and their new rule changes, right? The bases are bigger. You can limit
Yeah,
how many times you can pick over. Uh, the shot clock, dude, which I experienced, and I didn't like
same.
it, but obviously it helps the game, I guess, right? And it helps with viewership. I didn't like it. Dude, this new baseball united idea with a different scoring system. Like I guess they have a Moneyball system where you can hit a times two, right? So if it's a 3-run home run, it can be a 6-run home run,
Yeah,
which is crazy. But it adds a new little flavor or twist to the game of baseball. Uh, I don't know what you would say the level of play would be equal to, but if I had to guess, right, if you were going to rank it on a winter ball scale, because this is winter
I
ball,
don't know.
right?
Yeah, I
So
don't even
obviously,
know.
like Venezuela and Dominican are tippity top in my opinion. At least that's what it was when I was playing. I'm pretty sure that's what it is now with the names that
Is
we
Venezuela
will
still
talk
good
about. Yeah,
with
I mean
all the?
Acuna's over there, right? Hitting. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
Uh, so Venezuela and the Dominican Republic are top. I would say like Mexico and Puerto Rico are kind of like the second tier, and then maybe would you say Australia is maybe under that? I don't know. I don't
yeah.
know
No,
level of
Australia's
competition play.
a high double A maybe.
So like, what if you had to rank order this stuff? Where would you put the Baseball United level of competition? Maybe like Puerto. I don't want to compare it
I
to
I, f-
Puerto
I
Rico's
feel bad
nasty. They're
because
nasty,
I don't think
but
it's that good.
yeah,
I
the
think
level
they
of
have a
competition.
yeah. I think they have a bunch of big time names, and they have some guys like Didi Gregorius just got done a couple years ago. Like I'm sure he can still play, but like nothing against Cano. He had an unbelievable career, but he's not he's not going to make a team in AAA. He's not going to make a team in Double A. Like they're not. There's not a spot
Yeah,
for him, and that's most of the rosters are guys like Dylan Thomas can be in AAA right now. So I think there's some sprinkled in guys there that can
yeah,
still play, but for the majority, it's like, oh, let's draw some crowds and get some fans.
for sure, for
But
sure.
I don't think it's in the same ballpark as Puerto
Maybe
Rico
any of
or
that.
no, I don't think so. I think it's
Okay,
cool. I think I saw some like videos they put together, like the players showing up on a bus and heading to their locker room, and like it's a good production. It looks
I
pretty
for
professional.
sure. Right, it's the production value. I'd be interested to see like I keep messing around with my mic. I'd be interested to see what they make, dude.
Yeah, I don't. It looks like they're throwing a lot of money, and we need to dig deeper. We should probably know this, but I don't know if it's partnered with MLB at all because like some of these rules they'll throw out to these leagues and be like, hey, see about the Moneyball thing, see how it pans out, or if people are receptive to it or what. Because with Australia, that was an MLB partnership, and I think I actually got paid by the Mariners or something. Like I don't know how it worked, but or Major League Baseball paid my salary down there to like the first couple of years they provided enough money to get the league going. So I don't know if it's something like that, but I don't think it is because it's pretty out over the top.
Might yeah. I mean that obviously there's plans for expansion in the future. I'm sure it's going to be lobbied in or parlayed in, trying to partner with them down the road.
Yeah,
Maybe if they show a good product, if they show good viewership, good interest. You know what I mean? Um, that'll be interesting to see.
it looks
Um,
fun. Like if I was still playing and I was one of those guys that was like, hey, what am I going to do next? I need something. Maybe this doesn't lead me to like if you put up numbers there. Does anyone care? That's something I would try to look at. But for experience and maybe make a little extra money, I'd be all about it.
For sure. For sure, dude. For sure. Everybody's situation is gonna dictate how they view it, but absolutely, man.
Yeah, and I
Absolutely.
wonder if that's I the first couple of years, and I think in Australia, like it didn't really matter. They were like, "This isn't established." I'm assuming in all those leagues, and then they get established. Like you said, Dominican Republic is, I think, the cream of the crop, and if you go
Mm,
down there and do well in a winter, I mean, guys that aren't signed are signed like that on
yeah,
big league deals and stuff from a month down in the DR.
100%. So, like with the DR, Venezuela is nasty. Obviously, there's been some stuff going on with
Yeah,
safety and concerns and stuff. I think that I pretty sure that I heard that it was shut down. Like Americans weren't going there to play for a little bit. I could be completely
that was
wrong,
when we
but
were playing. Like we were told not to go there.
yeah, I didn't want to misspeak and like look like a
No,
total
that
idiot right
country
there.
was in
But
like a coup. Like they were trying to like overthrow leadership and basically almost like a civil war. So
yeah,
it
and
wasn't
players
the
that have played there previously has said like that it's been kind of peligroso.
yeah, dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous in Spanish. So that makes sense. But the level of play undoubtedly has been insane, like tip top,
Oh yeah,
right?
stadiums are. I mean, I when I was in low A and stuff, like I'd have buddies that were in AAA that would go there and 30,000 people at a game, and I heard it was insane, but it just got dangerous and their dollar plummeted, and I mean petty theft, and I can't necessarily blame them, but you see an American dude running around, walking the streets, and he's probably got a cell phone, a
Yeah,
watch, something on him, and they don't have the economy down there to not justify maybe robbing a dude.
yeah. So I've heard that they had like cheerleaders and stuff. They'd be bands, cheerleaders on top of the dugouts or like playing consistently nonstop. The crowds would get rowdy, and there would be armed guards or military down the lines with like guns and stuff if anything were to happen. So that's what I've heard. But I heard, dude, the level of play and obviously like it's about winning there, dude. Like it's about winning there. So
Yeah,
it's high intensity all the time.
so it
Um,
should be maybe not
so
guns and stuff, but yeah, they're
yeah,
passionate.
yeah,
Latin America is passionate in everything.
yeah,
That's why I love a lot of those dudes.
100%. So like, dude, Acuna, Acuna won the MVP, and we've talked about before, uh, and in relating it to the 9 hole podcast about how like time and effort like can translate into skill, like grinding, always working hard and stuff, trying
Yeah,
to relay that and show that message to like the next generation of Major League Baseball players. Right? That's kind of what we're trying to do here. And dude, this is a perfect situation. This is a perfect situation in my mind. Ronald Acuna just won the MVP, right? And that night he's playing in Venezuela in a winter league game hitting a home run on the night that he won an MVP. And then you wonder why, like, hey, dude, why is that dude so good? And it's like, I don't know anybody else that's doing that, like
it starts from
grinding
the
like
time he
that.
could walk. I mean, those guys would use tuna cans as gloves, and they take a milk cart and cut it in half and put their hand through the little handle, and they were so passionate about baseball, and baseball was their ticket out of poverty or whatever situation they were in, or get to the states and make something of themselves. And I mean, we talked a little bit about that on the last one. Like, I do believe in taking some time off, uh, but these Latin American guys are just they're different, especially as like a hitter. Um, if you were some, Max Scherzer went down there automatically after 250 innings or something in the big leagues. I don't think he needs to throw in
Yeah,
Venezuela. Um, but like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. after his first year, I swear I saw him. He had an unbelievable year, and then I saw a highlight like a week after the season, and he's running, hitting a triple in Dominican Republic, and I was like, what? Like he's playing this winter? Like he's established. He's son of a Hall of Famer. He's not going anywhere.
for sure.
But they just love baseball. And
100%.
I don't see that anymore as much with younger kids that I work with. I don't see that passion as much.
Dude, I try to relay that with the coaches, the players, the teams that I work with or speak to.
Yeah,
Um, and I use an example of I saw something in college, or I saw no Alex Bregman example in college of him asking the coach to give him 24-hour hitting facility access to the field, so that he could practice like after hours. And like there's video of him
showing up.
showing up hitting on the field when it's like obviously dark out, might be the middle of the night, and there's a next level baseball tweet, right, that says like Bregman was considered weird in college because he was so driven and intentional on being the very best. He was/is wired differently and will end up in the Hall of Fame. So these elite athletes possessing these traits or this obsession or like this desire to be the best, and like they're winning, they're compounding wins, and they're like compiling hard work on top of hard work, extra reps, time, building on skill. And some of the players or like athletes that you know I'll talk to, I'll be around, especially younger that don't know it yet, are like, oh, man, how are those guys so good? I'm just trying to say, like, dude, these guys, regardless of how you want to view hard work
They
or like,
work.
yeah, dude, they get after it, and like it's quality reps. So he's
Yeah,
out there
that's what I was gonna
grinding
say.
in Venezuela, hitting
It's
home runs,
discipline.
quality at bats, like repetitions, dude.
And Bregman's from Albuquerque,
Is
New
he?
Mexico. Yeah, and I had a teammate from that like grew up playing with him and stuff. And Bregman has come off to teammates and everything as being like kind of a dick, but he's just confident, and he's not going to let like outside stuff get in the way of his craft. And I respect that.
Yeah,
I mean, there's never a time that I don't think anyone's being like, "Hey, you booted that ball, or you struck out, like you're not working hard enough." Like that's something that if I had a bad outing or something, no one was going to say, "Well, Holman didn't work very hard." Like he was just messing around all the time. Like you put in your reps and good things happen, but you got to be disciplined. And like we talked about this the other day, but I have all these kids that come to me for lessons. They show up on a Wednesday night, high school kid, good arm. One's November, and the next Wednesday, a week from the lesson, they'll be like, show up again, and they start throwing, and like my arm's a little sore. And I'm like, well, what'd you do? Like, what'd you do in between these? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, are you long tossing? Are you throwing? Or do you have like a routine? Are you doing anything? And they're like, well, I had some homework, and like, I get it. You got to get all that done. But if you're not throwing and you come in here trying to blow out in a bullpen, you're throwing once a week, like, what do you think your arm's going to feel like? No shit.
yeah, dude, 100.
And that's
percent
up to like us and coaches and people to relay that information, because I think they just don't know. Some of it seems like common sense to probably me and you, because we grew up like that with dads that played and in environments. But some of these kids are just clueless. Like, you think your arm's going to feel good if you're not using it? I
Makes
don't get
sense,
it.
dude. I'm just the the question that I wanted to ask, or you know put forward in all of this, is like the best in the world, the best in the game of baseball are working like that. Whether it's behind the scenes, Bregman at LSU at the time, or you know in the spotlight at the time, more so where you see it like the Venezuelan league, but like the best in the game, the best in the world are putting in work like that. Work.
Well, how cool is that?
Yeah. But like what's your excuse?
Yeah.
Speaking to an athlete or a baseball player, what's your excuse for not working hard like that? You're like, dude, why not me? Why can't I, be in the big leagues and be a Hall of Famer, be an all-star, like hit 30 pumps in the show?
Hmm.
Well, dude, do you work like that? Like that, you know?
Well, I got a couple kids I work with right now that are 13, 14 years old, and when they first came to me, they were like night and day above everyone else. 10-year-olds, and I was like, dude, this kid has unreal talent, but they haven't worked to keep that talent going, and now everyone's catching up to him.
They plateaued
Yeah, and like I swear, some of these kids too, I'll be like, hey, that's something little. I'll be like, hey, get that front side up a little bit more. Like we need to be stronger, just leaking or falling down. Like use it, and they'll look at me and be like, okay, and then do the exact opposite. It's like they're also at like age where I don't know if they. You got to be able to take feedback and
criticism
criticism, yeah, and use it to your advantage. Like the older you get, like you can weed out some of that stuff. But when you're younger, like have a little faith, and especially if you're paying for something.
for sure, dude. For sure, a little faith, a little patience.
That's my advice to any young player. Set aside, like, have a schedule. You and I now as adults, we have to schedule out things to put it into our make it work with our time frame, our daily lives. But if these kids could somehow like reward themselves, like, hey, I have an hour of hitting on Tuesday. I have cardio, whatever. Put out something where they know that 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever, like that's all they have to do, or that's their time to put in the work. And then they can go to video games. They could go to reading a book, homework, whatever it is, catching up on the show. That's what I tell every kid I work with. Like, dude, you're here for 30 minutes. We play catch for probably 10 minutes, and then you're on the mound for 20. It's like,
Yeah,
why can't you give me all you have for 20, 30 minutes?
for sure.
Well, I don't know. I'm tired. Like, you don't think every time I stepped on the mound, something didn't feel right. And I think that adversity, these kids haven't been through any adversity. And
For
sometimes I
sure.
think it's helpful, but they only know what they know.
Yeah, they'll learn at some point, right? It's either you learn it or you find out, and then you learn it. But you'll eventually learn it at some point, dude. Um, on the flip side of that, right, dealing with adversity and struggles, mindset, all that. Flip it over to the World Series champion Rangers, Texas Rangers, receiving a $506,000 share from the pool of money
Yeah.
that you get paid from in postseason baseball, right? So your salary stops in playoffs, and so you make a playoff share, right? These guys won the World Series; their share is significantly greater than somebody that got knocked out in the wild card series. Um, and we talked about it. The veterans on the team, the leaders on the team, will get together. At least when I played, they
Yeah.
will
And they
get
divvy it
together
up,
and
right?
they divvy it up. They'd vote on it. They'd say, "Oh, dude, Ian's contribution was like minimal. He was a September call up. He just came here to pinch run or like play defense.
Let's give
You
him
know what I
something.
mean? Like
Yeah.
did all he could. He was just a small sample size of the entire pie of the entire season. So maybe I wouldn't get a full playoff share, but like you can get voted on it. There's only X amount of playoff shares that can be distributed throughout the team. So it's got to be divvied up amongst support staff, coaches, trainers,
Yeah.
fucking anybody that has hands in the entire operation. Uh, that was my understanding. I think it's probably the same thing now. So a $506,000 full playoff share. Uh, Pretty solid, dude. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Could
That's
be
crazy.
deemed life changing money.
That's what my uncle said because he was the bullpen coach for the Rangers when they went to the playoffs the first time, I think, like 10 years ago, or whatever. And I was like, hey, like, what do you think about the World Series? And he didn't like even go into detail about the games, anything. He was just like, I'm just so pumped for that staff. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, dude, they get playoff shares, like AAA coaches, trainers, whatever. Whoever had a hand in that, winning a World Series
Yeah,
or
dude.
going to the World Series, they get a piece of the pie. And he was like, it's unbelievable. Like when he was coaching, he got a percentage of it, and he said it was very, very good.
Yeah, could bless you.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's all about. That's why you play. And even I mean the Diamondbacks got money too. It wasn't as much. It wasn't as much, but Um,
significant, right? They were
yeah,
contenders in the you know baseball playoffs, dude. Uh, they drew viewers, they drew viewership numbers up. They increased revenue for MLB as a business, so they get a piece of the pie,
I
and
was
their
pumped.
players.
The more I think about the Diamondbacks going to the World Series, like the happier I actually get because that's life. That's baseball. There's so many I don't know things that kind of translate to life itself. But Diamondbacks weren't some stud team all year. You know, they had I think they had a horrible last like 2 months, but they made some good moves. They traded some guys. They got Seawald from the Mariners to close games. Like they adapted. And it just goes to show you that these 100 win teams and stuff like it's not all it's about. It's like who's going to come together and win important games.
Hundred
So
percent, dude.
I thought that was a really good I don't know example of hey we're here why not let's see how far we can go. And they took it.
For sure. It's dude, uh, crazy, crazy money. Crazy to think about. $500,000 kiss to win in
Yeah,
the World Series. You know what I mean? It's obvious. That's a big deal. So that's life changing money. Maybe not compared to that's they don't even get paid that much in salary, right? The minimum in the major leagues is like 750 now, right? 727 something. At least it was.
I thought it was almost 9 now.
Dude, it might be, man. I'm just outdated. It changes.
Yeah,
So
I think
like
it's 9.
regardless, this is
Yeah.
nice. This is nice. That's crazy.
Oh, it's massive. And
Yeah.
that's something. I mean, I sent you that video of those grown adults playing baseball in the rain. You know, and it's just pure
From
passion.
out of the country.
Yeah,
That looked like a Latin American
yeah.
country.
Latin American country. I mean, catcher staying in the plate, third
In
baseman
the
fields the
rain.
ball. Yeah, huge puddle. They're playing with a waterlogged baseball, just
Crowd
going all
cheering.
out. That happened to me when I went to Costa Rica. So like a week after I retired, I spent like 10 days in Costa Rica by myself. I needed to
I
find
love it.
myself, whatever you want to say. But I booked a lesson to go surfing. I went and surfed for like 3 hours. Was horrible. That was like the hardest thing I've ever done physically in my life was surfing.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool. I was just there by myself. But on the way back to my Airbnb, there was like a park, and there were these grown men, 20, 30, 40-year-old men were playing a full-fledged baseball game. And there was like hot dog vendors and beer vendors and probably 500 some people up against the fence. And I stood there at 30 years old, freshly retired. No one knew that I had just got done. No one knew that I was pitching at one of the highest levels in baseball. But I watched the pure, like, just passion and enjoyment
That's sick.
of the game. And, like, I'm not kidding, like, one tear rolled down my face. Like, I just retired. I just gave up, you know, on my career.
Yeah, it's like a
And I
cool
got to
moment.
see, yeah, I got to see baseball and, like, it's how it's supposed to be.
Blissful
Yeah.
moment almost.
And I walked back on this dirt road to my Airbnb and just laid in bed and was like, wow, it was sweet. But I think that we need a little bit more of that here. I'm not saying there's kids I work with that have, I'm sure hard family lives or maybe health problem or something, but I just don't see as much of that. Like after a 30-minute lesson, I want a kid to be like, what? Like that was 30 minutes? I'm just getting like, I want
Yeah.
more. I don't see that anymore. My dad would take me to big league games as a 10-year-old, and I'd have to leave in the second inning to go play catch. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. I just couldn't sit there. Like I
I
need to
know.
go. You know
Thousand
what I mean?
percent.
Like I
Got
don't
to
see
do
that.
it.
I don't even know how, like you can't advise someone to love something. Like I want if kids are listening to this and they're like, hey, I have that. Like I have that. Then talk to us. But I can't tell a kid like, hey, you have talent. Go work. They're either gonna
Yeah.
want to or not.
It's just words at that point, right? It comes down to if they really want it or not. Dude, I
Yeah.
remember on my honeymoon, speaking of surfing, booking surfing lessons. It was on my honeymoon and on the resort. I went to the Dominican Republic. On the in the part of the resort, you could windsurf, like kite surf. And so, dude, I don't even know how much money it was. I wanted to kite surf. I wanted to try it. I'm like, dude, I see these guys doing it. They're older. These older guys,
How hard is it?
obviously, dude. I can't even tell you. I tried so hard, and my wife was up reading a book, finished it. Like the end of her book, I'm still trying to kite surf, dude. I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting pissed off, and like I'm a professional athlete still at this point,
Yeah.
so like I should be able to do anything, and I couldn't. And dude, I remember getting so upset and like mad at my wife that I wanted to go home at one point, home back to the states because I
But
think
that's that competitive thing that you
she
can't
was watching
teach.
me and like giggling at one point. I think she
You're like, "It's not
giggled one
funny."
time. Dude, I couldn't get up for the life of me. It was the hardest thing in the world. And I'm still a little bit sour about it to this day.
That's how it
But
was with surfing, and I gave the guy 20 colones, which is like $40 American, and the
sick.
guy cried. He hugged me. He's like, "Dude, you got me another week of lessons. I can rent more surfboards. I can." And I got up like 3 times, but I'm not kidding. That feeling of getting up and I put my hands towards like the beach,
Yeah.
and it's like you're floating on the water, heading towards a jungle. I don't know. I was
That
completely,
view,
yeah, I was completely alone, and but how
you
there was a
needed
lot
it.
of weird things. Yeah, right after
Soul
retirement
cleansing.
too. It was sweet.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. What do you got on what do you got on like the free agents? Baseball wise, Otani. Where do you think he's going? Anybody else standing out on you know who you think could land where?
I keep seeing a bunch of stuff about Jordan Montgomery. Like he's a hot,
Lefty.
yeah, he's a big lefty right now in the market. Sonny Gray, I think what he's put together in his career is big. Obviously, Otani's the biggest name by far. I think Otani. I don't know. I think what I know about him, I think he's a pretty stand up character guy. I don't know if he necessarily take less money, but I kind of am thinking he would take a little bit less money to go win.
To win. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I
Ooh.
think from what I've kind of garnered about him and his personality and everything. Like, I mean, to an extent, like how much more money these guys need? A
Well,
$400 million contract. Like,
yeah, dude. So in to win, I mean, I'm reading something on MLB.com about the Cubs being like the number one
yeah,
team in on Otani. I'm like, dude, I don't know how far away they are from winning, but like they're building something cool over there, right? They took a year or two hit to rebuild. They got Dansby Swanson at short. Nico Horner, they locked him up, dude. I think Hap is on a long term blessing. I think Bellinger. I forget what happened with Bellinger, dude, but Marcus Stroman elected free agency. I think Bellinger elected free agency.
I just text our boy on the inside over there, and I'm asking him, "Y'all gonna get Otani?"
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I want to see what he says. Hey, what is it for? I know a little bit about this, but like Mike Talkman, you remember
Okay.
that? You
Yeah,
remember him? Yeah,
he was nasty, dude.
really good player. One of the best teammate, like skill wise, I've ever played with. He was pretty standout for the Cubs this year. Looking at this text exchange, he said he's up for he's eligible for arbitration. So does that mean he's like a free agent and he can go sign with whoever, or do the Cubs still own him? Do you know what that means?
Yeah, so I think there's different levels. I think it's you do a 1 year. You can do a 1 year arb. Like after a certain amount of years or service time in the major leagues, you can be eligible to be 1 yeared.
But
I
yeah,
think there's
so
arb one, arb
he could
multiple
probably
years,
make
dude.
some
I don't.
money.
That's where you start making money, money, money. But
That's like
you
going to
there's
court, kind of, right? Like they
that's
go
a
and say,
year or
like,
two or I forget, dude. I don't even want to misspeak. I should
"No, you're
probably know a
good."
little bit about this.
Well, if you get to arbitration, that's like either
You
it's
start making it. You start making
yeah,
it. But free agency is where you make the life changing shit. Obviously, the arbitration is still you're making millions of bucks because
yeah.
you're first off league minimum. So
I heard
it's dude,
arbitration's actually like somewhat humiliating to go through
crazy process. Different
because like
sides of
you
the
Yeah,
lawyer's table.
they'll be like, "Hey, I don't think this guy deserves this because he hit this and he didn't come up in this situation and this," and like they just like kind of shit on you. But then someone else is like fighting for you, like, well, like your agent or whatever. It's like, well, look at this numbers and whatever. But I heard going through arbitration, you walk out of there kind of like, am I even good at baseball?
Tail between your legs. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously not like that extreme, but you almost take a hit, like you're hearing about why you're not worth. So like
yeah,
arbitration, the player goes in, he's like, dude, I want to make 8 mil next year. Here's my case on why I'm worth 8 mil next year.
yeah. We'll give you
Right? This
two.
is what I did, and and there's your agent or your agency or your lawyer team, whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it,
whoever.
makes a case for why you're worth 8 mil, and the team fucking counters and says why you're only worth 5.5,
Yeah,
and they present the data. They track every metric, right? So like your jumps in the outfield, they'll track your sprint speed, how quickly you get out of the box. You know what I mean? What your value could be worth over X amount of years moving forward based off of the metrics that you're like putting out right now. Dude, they can value all that stuff and they will present it. And an arbitrator, I'm pretty sure that's the word, an
arbitrator.
arbitrator
Okay.
or somebody makes a decision on where you meet. Like, hey, wait, there's good arguments put on both sides. We'll meet in the middle, right? Right at 7.2 million or whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
Or they'll accept it and you'll get 8 or you'll only get 5.5. I don't know. I've never
you probably always
experienced
go
that,
in high.
obviously.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah. But I've heard that, yeah, it's a crazy
I've heard it does
process to,
mess up some guys a little bit because they're like, I thought I had a great year, but they didn't see it that way.
yeah, apparently not.
Yeah, I just know Talkman was up for it, and I hope he gets. I hope he gets paid.
I love it, dude. I love it. Yeah, he's nasty. I remember that. So talking about this is the last thing I got. So talking about the Acuna and Bregman work ethic, they're superstars. The superstardom paired with the work ethic, right? Paired with the output being quality. The reps are quality. They're putting in more time and effort than other people. And kind of like reaching that level. Obviously there's talent involved, but reaching that level ultimately, how can we, like, for a kid or a player that's in college, high school, middle school, minor leagues, whatever it is, talking about like hard work ethic, discipline, goal setting, routines and stuff, man. What would we be able to learn from that? Just the way that those guys are going about their business, right? So LSU, Bregman is doing stuff after hours. That's routine work ethic. I don't even know what that looks like for a routine at a kid in high school or excuse me, college doing stuff like that, right? But Acuna is hitting home runs in the winter after winning the MVP, after having an unreal season. So obviously, you see the work ethic there. You see the talent. You see that there's a routine.
Yeah,
Um, man, what can future big leaguers or future major leaguers learn from that, dude,
I mean, I
and
didn't
apply?
even realize I necessarily did this until you just mentioned Bregman, but I was not very good in college. I was projectable, but I had a key made for me to our indoor, which was an old grain elevator with like this nasty turf, and I would go in, I couldn't sleep sometimes, 11 o'clock at night, and I would go grab a bucket of balls and throw into a net from 40 feet away, set up my phone and film, and I tried to emulate a lot of guys. But like you gotta be doing it. Like even if it's getting like a racquetball and it's snowing here in Kansas, it just snowed a ton. But go in the
Really,
garage or something and put a glove on and or no glove and throw a racquetball against a wall, shuffle your feet, try to get around it. Like how many I don't see kids now or get some wiffle balls, put it on a tee, get creative. Like anything, get a broomstick and hit those little tiny golf wiffle balls. Like I don't see these kids nowadays. It's all the videos I see are like these crazy drills, like with a bicycle tire and a traffic cone, and then you wear your hat sideways and you drop your hat, and you're like, what are we doing? Like a little bit, just get back to basics, and yeah, have a like a concrete foundation to build from, but work on it. Like
Yeah,
know your 3, 4, 5 steps you need to work on to hit the baseball properly or throw the baseball properly, and then develop the, even if it's boring. Like to this day, I'm 33 years old. If I see a mirror, I'm lifting my leg and I'm putting my, like I'm still working on stuff. And that's just something that was either I instilled in myself or, throughout coaches and stuff.
for sure. You took that and you built a base in order to move forward and kind of work on every day.
Yeah. And
That's
I mean,
nice.
we were always playing like Nolan Arenado was the same way as Bregman and Acuna and all that. And Josh Fuentes would show me videos of them, their fielding practice in the offseason. I mean, they lived in California, but they were hitting crazy PF like fungos at each other and making these all out diving plays. And Nolan Arenado, 10-year career, future Hall of Famer, on some backfield in November, diving for balls in his shorts. And
Dude,
they had a blast. And they play wiffle
that's
ball in their mom's. Nolan Arenado, Josh Fuentes, and I forgot Nolan's little brother's name, but it's an Arenado as well. They had these intense, crazy wiffle ball family games. Like they don't stop, and that's what makes them who they are.
for sure, dude. And like diving on backfields, playing at that high level,
Yeah,
like practicing at that high level. What I've tried to say is, if you wanna be able to compete at a championship caliber or elite caliber, like you got to practice that way, dude. You got to practice that way. Like you have to
huge.
practice at a high intensity and a high level like that in order to be able to whip that out consistently. It's a crazy amount of work. I can only imagine for the level that he got to.
Yeah, grab. I mean, how many times did like live ABs in the beginning of spring training help you track the ball? And I mean, coming into spring training, pitchers were always a little bit ahead for like the first couple weeks, and then
Yeah,
you started tracking the ball a little better. But high school guys get a pitcher that can throw some strikes and has decent stuff, and stand in on his bullpens. Grab a helmet and say, "Hey, man, can I stand in? I just want to track some balls." But like, how many of those guys are doing that? Like, taking that initiative to the next step to be like, okay, what can help me today to get better? And if you're part of an academy or you go hit in a cage, whatever, kids got to throw bullpens, kids got to hit, like set it up a screen. I don't know, like make it as real as possible.
get after it. Get after it. I guess at the
Yeah, as
when
simple
it's
as
all said
that.
and done, just get after it, dude.
You should give
Create
yourself,
it.
yeah, especially right now in the off season, 3-5 days a week where you're working on something. January comes around, you get amped that up a little bit, but have a routine. And seriously, if someone is watching this, I know I say this every time, but reach out to us. If you don't have a routine, we will make one for you.
For
I will.
sure.
I will send you a throwing program. Ian can show you his tee work. Like that's why we're doing this. Yes, we enjoy catching up. Yes, we like talking about baseball, but we want to help the kids that are in the position that we were in to get better. I don't. That's all it is. Like,
100%. 100%, dude. It's at the end of the day, it's about putting in the work, man. Putting in good work too, consistently over an extended period of time and building on skill. Right?
yeah,
That's like this simple formula, but um, I love that, dude. So that's all I got, man. David, you got anything else you want to throw in there, man? If not, dude, we'll be back here in a couple days, man. Look forward to seeing everybody again.
yeah. No, I'm good. I'm gonna go see my little cousin's wedding shower. It's at a indoor pickleball court, and I'm gonna try
Sick.
not to play and tear my Achilles or anything. So,
Uh,
uh,
yeah. No. How's the shoulder doing?
yeah, as good as it can be. I really want to golf, but it's 8 inches of snow here. I know,
Love it. All right,
and I
dude.
can't
We'll
golf anyway.
So thank you everybody for tuning in. We will catch you guys again next time.
We're here to help.
That's right.